Yeah, Houston, we do have a problem. I don't think Karel will ever want another chronograph. The mighty lunar pilot, the other MoonWatch, or the poor man's Speedmaster. I don't like the last one because I don't like to think about myself as poor, but it's kind of true. We all know the story. The year was 1971, only 2 years after NASA's very first mission to the moon. The astronaut David Scott was among the crew members on Apollo 15 to walk the moon again. NASA issued all the crew members with the official MoonWatch, the Omega Speedmasters. Right before the mission started, the crystal on Dave's Speedmaster popped off and broke. Well, now call it a fate or rather suspicious coincidence. David actually had a prototype of Bulova watch that was given to him for testing. Damn, Dave, that was lucky. And this is a modern reissue of the second MoonWatch. Watch that I wanted for a long time. Not only because of this moon story, but also because Bulova is an incredible brand, full of history and probably for a long time the biggest American watch brand. But also, the founder, Joseph Bulova, was not so much of a Joseph as Joseph, and he was a Czech immigrant. This is my proud face. Quite frankly, I'm over the moon. Let's have a look at it. As you have probably noticed, I got the smaller 43.5mm version for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's smaller. And second, I think it just looks better. First of all, the Bulova logo is the historical one rather than the new one. Second, they dropped the date window, which makes the dial more symmetrical and cleaner, just better looking. Mine arrived in this packaging with this cool opening and instructions manuals that I will totally read one day, and not much else really. Alright, like no oxygen tank or cleaning cloth. Alright. Then, the watch came on this NATO-like strap that I actually really like the look of. I think together with the dial it works perfectly and dresses the high polishness of the case down. It is comfy and nicely made, signed on the keepers, but it's kinda stupid. See, it's actually a two-piece strap designed to look like NATO. I really like NATO straps, I wear it on a lot of watches, but say this spring bar fails, this part of the strap would go right through this keeper and you would lose the watch. So the strap gives you all the disadvantages of a NATO like the added bulk, while not giving you any of its advantages. 1000 IQ game plan, Bulova. Well, that bugged me a bit and I changed the strap, traditionally. And I don't mean to brag, but if there was a championship in pairing watches with straps, you're looking at the undisputed champion of the world. I put the watch on this distressed leather strap that I got with my $4, and damn does it look the business. Yes, more dressy than Thule, but the watch's got only 50 meters of water resistance anyway, so I'm really fine with that. The case. So like I mentioned, I went for the smaller version, but it's still a unit of a watch. The case size is 43.5mm, case thickness is 13, and lug-to-lug dimension is 51. And this lug-to-lug dimension is about as much as I like to go. Yeah, I totally get that it loses appeal to small wrists. Unlike its bigger brother, this lunar pilot is entirely polished. And that's the part I wasn't really sure about. I normally prefer brushed, more tooly looking things, but damn, I was wrong. I knew I was wrong the moment I saw it in person. The case is gorgeous in high polish. I think it visually helps hiding some of its size. It constantly reflects your surroundings. But due to its rounded shape, in a way that it works like, I don't know, like a highlight for a dial. I mean, it's an absolutely awesome thing to look at. The complexity of the case helps too. Very retro rounded lugs, and then very sharp angular bezel. These giant chronograph pushers that are just perfect. Super easy to use, very clear mechanical feedback. Plus they are kinda original. I don't know about any other chronograph with pushers shaped like this. And then there is the crown. Big watch can certainly afford big crown. And it does. It is a big, well-proportioned, grippy and beautifully signed with embossed Bulova's tuning fork logo. Although being just push-pull, it feels like a high quality, very precise, very tactile, and just pleasure to use. It doesn't leave much to complain about. Maybe just that you don't get to use it much. And when we get to the case back, that is where the cool factor really starts kicking in a bit more. It is not only superbly finished, It proudly shows off lunar pilot's heritage with the space missions it was on, and the specs around, and of course, the Bulova Tuning Fork logo. I don't know how to describe it, but it feels incredible, like professional, high quality, and quite frankly, just gorgeous to look at. So yeah, that's another reason why the NATO strap wouldn't last. Bulova used the same movement from its bigger brother with a date. So yes, it's got a ghost date position. But I will not complain about the movement one bit. See, Bulova could have easily cheapened out on us here. Like with the heritage this watch has, they could have easily used like the cheapest chronograph movement they would find and still get away with it and people would buy it. But no, Bulova used one of its ultra high frequency, ultra high precision movements labeled the Precisionist. That movement vibrates 8 times faster than normal movements. It proudly advertised 262 kHz on the dial, with accuracy plus or minus 10 seconds a year. A year! Plus the chronograph hand has the smooth sweep resembling mechanical chronograph. That movement is an absolute marvel. It hasn't lost or gained anything since I got it. Like, nothing at all. Using the chronograph feels unlike anything I tried before, and it quite frankly puts my flight master to shame. And that, ladies and gentlemen, who am I kidding? That gentleman is a quartz I'm proud to own. If it sounds like I really do like the watch, we haven't even got to the best part yet, and that is the dial. This dial is the most refined, thought out, and well executed dial I have ever seen. Unpopular opinion, I think it looks better than the dial on a Speedmaster. At least it doesn't have a tick at 12. Starting with the raised tachymeter scale, that is also covered under the crystal. That drops to the recessed mini track. Both incredibly crisply printed. Together they create layers of depth, highlighting the dial they surround. The recessed mini track has also a circular pattern. The dial itself is matte black, which is my favorite color, with a baton applied hour markers. With larger one at 12, and where you would normally expect other larger ones at 3, 6 and 9, there are smaller cutouts because they need to make some space for the 3 subdials. The subdials are again recessed and textured with this circle pattern that creates light sunburst effect, making the entire experience a bit more dynamic. The Bulova logo is printed right where it should be, in the right size, in the right font. The only other text is those 262 kHz at 6 o'clock running second subdial. The other subdials are 60-minute chronograph counter at 9 and 1/10 of a second at 3. The handset is pencil style, absolutely perfectly sized, proportioned pencil style hands. Notice how the minute hand tip reaches right to the recessed minute track, and the hour hand just about touches the hour markers. And then there is this main chronograph hand, patiently waiting right at 12 for you to push the start button, perfectly splitting the Bulova logo right in the middle, perfectly splitting the 12-hour index right in the middle. Every element on the dial is matte white, very consistent white, despite almost everything being loomed, except for the subdial hands. I know this all sounds boring, it's just matte black and matte white, but it's just not. It's incredible. Maybe because of the dynamic and reflective high polished case in combination with the layers of the dial itself. It just altogether begs for you to stare at it. And you do stare at it. A lot. Constantly twisting it, not even to read the time, just finding the best angles, but all the angles are the best. This watch is just beautiful to look at. And a big part of that is also because of the crystal covering this show. Large, thick, gorgeous sapphire crystal. Sometimes it looks like it's not even there how clear it is, until it catches a reflection or you twist it enough to see how thick and proud it is sitting on the bezel. It all doesn't look bad in dark either. Bulova is owned by Citizen, and the lume will certainly feel familiar to anyone who has got a Citizen diver. I mean, at least the color. The lume doesn't last that long, but it's there and it looks good. Okay, let's sum it up. I need to tell you some negatives, otherwise I would lose my credibility, and I don't want that. So, if I have to say something, those 50 meters of water resistance is about 50 meters less than I would like. The strap it comes on, although good looking, is borderline stupid. And it covers the case back, so that's no. And quite frankly, I think even this smaller 43.5mm version is still too big for most people. It wears very flat, and I think it stretches the lug to lug size I would like to wear. But if you're not sure, just try it on. I can't help myself but to absolutely love this watch. It altogether plays its cards very well, creating the feeling of very refined, sophisticated product. Functional in the first place, but also absolutely gorgeous to look at. And thanks to that marvel of a quartz, absolutely easy to live with. It's just there running. Plus, it somehow makes me use the chronograph more than I should. But it just feels so good and it kind of makes me smile every time I do. Yes, it is big and flat, but it feels right. So right. It has enough space to breathe. I mean, there is a lot going on the dial. And if it was smaller, it would, in my opinion, look cramped. And one underrated feature of this dial is how perfectly proportioned the subdials are. I really think Bulova has just done it right. That's all I got to say. So yeah, there we go. As usual, thank you very much for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, I thank you for watching this far. And please feel free to drop comments what do you think about the Lunar Pilot. My name is Karel and this is WatchWatch. Till next time, cheers.